Welcome back to Blend Modes, Episode 5. In the last lesson, we came in and used some green highlights, put the glow on our book, and we made some very subtle changes around our wizard. In this lesson, we're going to talk about the energy flow coming in and out of the book. Okay, so what I'm going to do is go back to that layer we made in the last lesson, and I'm going to just basically grab a hard round brush. Make sure your mode is at normal, make sure your opacity is at 100%. And I'm just going to come in and I'm going to start drawing like little sketches. Like, how do I want this energy field to come up out of this book? I kind of need to give myself an idea before I really start working as to how I want this stream to look. Now I know I don't want it to cross the face. I don't know if I want it to cross that hand over there, so I'm going to kind of keep it simple. Maybe something along those lines. Okay. So once you have your sketch, you can go down here and make a brand new layer. I'm going to call it Energy Flow. And let's go ahead and start blocking this in. So I'm going to choose my green color. Doesn't have to necessarily match the color you put down there, but you might want to be a little bit close to it. I'm going to make my brush rather big. You'll notice that I kept my blend mode and my tool mode both in normal mode. And I'm just going to start blocking in this color. Now, I know what you're thinking. This looks awful. Why are we doing it this way? What's the purpose of putting this ugly color on top? Well, it's going to be about that blend mode we're going to change here in just a second. We're going to make this into a screen mode. And it's going to make this energy wave that's bursting forth from this book look a lot more appealing to the eye and look a lot better. And really, after teaching this lesson for a little while, I've kind of found that this is the best method for students to do it, is you get kind of a better sense of your energy flow and you're able to just put in these blocky blobs. Now, if you are the type of person that's kind of happy with putting in just little lightning spikes, such as doing this out of your book, like just waves of energy and just lightning coming up out of here, that is perfectly fine. You'll still be able to follow what I'm about to do with my energy flow. It's just going to be a little bit more difficult to get the details with that method. So I'm going to hop back forward. And now that I have my energy flow, I'm going to turn off the sketch layer. And I'm going to come over and I'm going to change this to screen. Now that we've changed this to screen, you can see that we have a very nice energy, kind of a green glowing out of our book. One thing I might recommend that you do is to come into Image, Adjustments, and Brightness and Contrast, and see about possibly making that a little bit darker. You don't want it to be too light. You want to make it to where it's easily visible and it doesn't look kind of slimy. I guess it still looks a little bit green, but it's not that Slimer green from Ghostbusters. Okay, so I'm going to make that adjustment. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my brush and I'm going to change my mode up here to color burn, or rather color dodge, excuse me. And I'm going to come in and I'm just going to start drawing little energy wisps coming out of our book. Like something has been summoned, something horrible. Maybe this book contains the secret to eternal power. Maybe it's just his sister's diary and he's just that afraid of what's coming out of the book. Now what I can also do is come in and sample that green that I just went over again. Come back. Change it into screen on screen mode. Screen here, screen here. You get kind of a nice white, because you've taken a color that's already been applied with the screen filter and you're basically just doubling up on it. So you can come in and just, these little lightning bolts can look however you'd like them to be. I kind of try to keep mine inside of the field for now. There is one thing I will mention. If you want to keep this hand in front of the energy flow, one thing you can do is to come in back down to your line layer and use the magic wand to select it, and then come back up to your energy flow layer and hit delete on your keyboard. And as you can see, it brings what you had selected to the front. Now it's not going to grab everything there, but what you can do is to stay on that energy flow layer, and you can even come in with your eraser tool and just kind of erase in these lines. For example, let me zoom in here, and you can see what I'm talking about. I've got a little bit too much energy on the back part of this hand. I do like kind of what the energy did to this crease here, but if I'm not liking that too much, I can come in and just, with that eraser, I can just erase this on top and kind of redefine the top of the hand here. The energy will still appear as if it's going behind the hand, but we've kind of cleaned this up a little bit. We want to make sure that our hand is not lost in the flow. I mean, we like that it's in front of the flow. His left hand is practically inside the book, and we can always come back and touch this up in a future lesson. So ideally, if you would like to do that with your hand or any other body part, if you cross into this hand, the same procedure would work, and you can do that if you want. So in this lesson, we've talked about our energy flow, we've talked about how we put it into screen mode, and we have talked about the lightning that we can get shooting out of it. In the next lesson, we will darken the background and talk about adding a little bit of glow behind him, and then we will mention briefly the final steps of the project. So we'll see you then.